Thank you. Right. Good morning, everybody. Both those in the chamber here at South Cambridge District Council and anybody joining us online. This meeting is of the South Cambridge District Council Cabinet. We've got cabinet members present. They will be able to vote on matters, though normally everything's consensual. And I will take questions from cabinet members first of all, then anybody else present in the room, and then anybody online. Thank you very much to all our colleagues who've attended in order to support us. So we'll start off with apologies for absence. Pippa?
Thank you, Chair. We've had apologies from Councillor Henry Batchelor, Councillor Natalie Warren-Green and Councillor Peter MacDonald.
Thank you, who are all working, not holidaying, I should emphasise. Thank you. Right, moving on. Do we have any declarations of interest pertaining to items on the agenda, please? No, so no declarations of interest. Minutes of the previous meeting, I'm happy to ask members to approve these, and I think Councillor Brian Mills is happy to second. Are there any issues arising from the minutes? No. Members agree to approve the minutes. Anyone voting against? Anyone abstaining? Cabinet therefore agrees to approve the minutes as a record, as a correct record by affirmation. Thank you. On announcements, I had hoped that I could announce that we'd received the much anticipated letter from Jim McMahon, the Minister for Local Government, detailing what's happening, what are the next steps, what's the detail for devolution and local government reorganisation. We were expecting it last week, but we haven't got it yet. But as soon as we do, we will obviously be scrutinising it. We have, however, yesterday received the financial settlement letter, and once we've identified what that actually means for us, we will be reporting that to full council. So, if there's nothing else, we'll move on to public questions. We've received one eligible question from Dr. Cameron. So I think Dr. Cameron's online. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. Would you like to...
Hi.
Hello. Thank you very much for joining
please.
us. Would you like to ask your question, please?
Yes, please. Thank you. On 23rd of January, the leader of the council was asked to make a reasonable adjustment in regard to disability. Did the leader take legal advice in regard to her obligation under the Equality Act 2010 in respect of this request? And if so, would the leader please identify who gave her the legal advice in question?
Thank you for your question, Dr. Cameron. So this is an operational matter, and I'm led to believe that officers have already responded on the matter. So, do you have a supplementary question?
There has been no response to this question, just to put that on the record. So I look forward to receiving it in due course. The follow-up question will be, excuse me, what steps has the leader taken to ensure that all of the officers working at the council are compliant with the Equality Act 2010?
We have an equality protocol, and it's very important that we as a council abide by our own protocol. So it's one of our many documents that determine how we conduct ourselves, how we do business in South Cambs. So thank you very much, and I'm sure it's available on our website if you want to look at it. So
I'll have a look. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Bye bye. Right, moving on. So Scrutiny and Overview Committee, it's a brief report, but actually they've done a lot of work. Councillor Bradnam, do you want to talk about it now, or do you want to talk about it within the meeting?
Well, I wanted to ask you if these items are likely to be near the beginning of the agenda. I think they are, aren't they? So I'm happy to wait and take them in turn. To be fair, there isn't a lot to add. It's a succinct report. I'll do it now. On the item relating to the corporate plan, which is 3 on our on the summary, paragraph 3. It says committee members would like to highlight their preference that while the inclusion of a contextual overview is welcome, the information therein must be meaningful and easy to interpret. This is almost a Douglas DeLacy point. The point was to clarify that the graphics that are provided associated with some of the information, sometimes it's not clear whether, only because one isn't aware of it, whether an increase in an item is good or bad. And so it was simply to clarify what, if the graphic wasn't immediately obvious, what it meant, because sometimes a trend upwards is good and sometimes a trend upwards is bad. So it was just to clarify that in the narrative. But broadly speaking, we had a very wide-ranging discussion, which I won't bore you with, but it was just, if we could have some clarification on that point, that would be helpful. Because if you, and we always know that our papers can be written by any member, can be read by any member of the public, and we want all of that information to be clear and transparent to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, so I recall that well. It was a point well made, and I believe it has been taken back. And we're looking how to make it clearer about which trends are desirable and which aren't. So thank you very much for that. Yes, it was a good scrutiny meeting, albeit long, but they're always long. Okay, moving on then to the corporate plan. This is a really, this is our plan for the future, and it's had quite a major refresh here, and it's very, very focused on delivery. At a time when councils across the country are facing enormous challenges and enormous distractions in terms of devolution, and for some of us, local government reorganisation as well. So it's going to be challenging to keep on with all the business as usual and all our very, very ambitious transformational work at a time when we have what are arguably unwelcome distractions, but ones that we are going to have to embrace with enthusiasm. There's lots of highlights in this. I think this is we are, what are we, 7 years down the line now. And we have far more than good foundations here. We are one of the most financially strong councils in the country, and we are able to do lots and lots of things that other councils can't do, and those things immediately benefit our residents and immediately benefit our places. So, one of the biggest things we're going to be doing in the coming years is the construction of the Northstowe Phase 1 Community Centre, which I'm delighted to see the local community have decided to call the Unity Centre, which absolutely speaks for itself and would be, I could not have come up with anything better than that. I think it's absolutely great. That's a real tangible demonstration of our commitment to delivering really, really good places. But of course, we have to make sure that we as a council are a cutting-edge 21st century council. One can't rest in the past anymore, and AI is going to offer up incredible opportunities to us through our new websites, through our planning service, where we're winning numerous awards now, but becoming more and more efficient. And hopefully giving a better and better service to our residents. But even with our customer contact centre, we are ahead of the game of many councils in embracing AI to help our residents, our customers, get answers to their questions, get solutions to their problems even quicker. So I think this is a great plan. And I think it will be copied by many other people, given the resources that the most careful financial management, which we're going to hear about in a while, has allowed us to make possible. So, I am very happy to propose this. I think Councillor Brian Milnes is seconding it. Is that right?
I am. Yes, thank you.
Would you like to say something now?
No, just to echo your own comments on that. it's a major refresh to our corporate plan and business plan, and I welcome that. As you said, we've in the upper percentiles of performance of local councils at a time when many are in financial trouble. We've shown great skill in managing our finances correctly, and I look forward to seeing that continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments from members of Cabinet? Councillor Toomey Hawkins.
Yes, thank you, Leader. I think I probably just want to raise a couple of points. The corporate plan, is something that is for all the, all our communities. But I just wanted to raise the fact that we are doing a lot with our young people. And if I can refer us to page 7 of our report, there was an event it was a primary school convention, career convention, last year in Bourne, and our youth engagement service team were there, and I was happy to support them there. We actually presented the 5 corporate priorities to our young people in words that simple enough for them to understand, and asked them to vote on which one was most important to them. If you see on the table at the bottom of page 7, that was a breakdown of the results. But the important thing is to point out, being green to our core was what they found was most important, which is quite interesting. And one of the reasons some of them gave was because it's more green spaces and because trees give us oxygen. The point is, if we engage our young people and make, these issues simple enough for them to understand, we can hear their voices. What we're building today is for them, not for us. They're the future. So I just want to say, thank you to our youth engagement service team for the continuing work that they've been doing. Not to mention, they did win an award last month. Beg your pardon. So there's a lot of work that we need to do still with young people, and that is good to see that we're continuing to do that. And as you can see, I've got the senior managers of the planning service here. So we need to mention that a lot of what we're achieving actually is being achieved through planning and the development plan. And if we go to, I can't remember what the page is now, in the corporate plan where we have sustainable homes and vibrant places, it's through the planning work that we actually deliver those. And some of the things that we're going to be doing over the coming year, to make sure that we do continue to, provide these places is, of course, through our joint local plan. And as you know, we did update our timetable last month. And we're hoping to submit our new local plan before, hopefully by December 2026, before the local government reorganization, fingers crossed. But of course, a lot of work is going into that. And we're engaging with the Cambridge Growth Company, who are the government's vehicle for the growth that the government is planning here. Lots of work going on with PropTech. We're looking at, the role of AI and digital tools in actually being able to improve, again, community engagement and participation in the planning process. The YES team, I've already mentioned that, but obviously, support of the support that we're getting and that we're providing to key partners through the planning service is key to enabling us to actually deliver on that corporate plan. I just thought I'd mention that and highlight it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hawkins. Anyone else? Councillor Bradnam?
Thank you, Leader. It just occurred to me as I was reading through again, and I'm sorry I should have raised it earlier, but not for now, because this is very close to being finalised. But can we just bear in mind that, for example, if you look at the graphic on page 10 and on page 12, they're white text on blue backgrounds. And we know that that is less accessible for people with affected visibility, you know, who can't see very well. Sorry, I can't think of the word for it now, but that makes it harder for people to read if they're using readers online. So just not for this one, but maybe next time, can we just bear in mind that black on white is the easiest font, the text for people to read? Thank you.
Thank you. I think that works already. I'm going to come to Anne Ainsworth because I think that's already been dealt with.
Thank you. Yes, in looking at how we're going to present the corporate plan moving forward, we've been taking some instructions and advice around design, and that includes all of the measures around accessibility, including for those who are visually impaired. So thank you for pointing that out. You'll see in the version that we ultimately produce that those things have been addressed.
That's very reassuring. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Right. So I must thank Anne Ainsworth for her leadership on this, for Kevin Ledger, you know, who makes it all legible and does, works extreme. Sorry, that was bad. Makes, puts huge effort into, producing documents which are a pleasure to read rather than a pain to read, and keeps on top of all of this. But I know that all our colleagues have contributed to this. This is not the work of one or two people. This is the work of the whole organisation to shape where this organisation is going and what the future of South Cambridge looks like. So my gratitude to absolutely everybody within the organisation. So the recommendations are numerous. So I'm just trying to get back to the page where they're at. It's page 5, is it? Right, hang on. Righty-ho.
Are you gone?
Yeah, I have, yeah, fine. Okay, so the recommendations, all right, yes, on page 5, there's only 2 of them actually. So to review the corporate plan and the draft action plan, recommended changes, which we've already done, authorise our Chief Executive to make any minor wording changes required to final drafts in consultation with myself. So do members agree with the recommendations?
Agreed.
Anyone wish to vote against? Anyone wish to abstain? No, so Cabinet therefore agrees the proposals. Thank you very much. And now moving on to a really massive document, the Authority Monitoring Report for Greater Cambridge, and Councillor Toomey Hawkins is going to present this, and I think Councillor John Batchelor is going to second it. So over to you, Toomey.
Thank you, Leader. Sorry, yeah. Thank you, Leader. As a local authority, we have a statutory duty to publish the Authority Monitoring Report every year. And the document before us this morning is reporting on our local plan timetable and the impact of the planning policies in our current adopted local plans, but looking over the year from April 2023 to March 2024. So it's, looking back at what we're able to deliver. And I'll actually say that, it shows how well we are delivering against our core policies. It monitors our contribution, or the contribution to our, to the local economy, to how our policies are delivering affordable housing, well, housing in general and affordable housing in particular, as well as contributions to adapting to climate change and the measures, mitigating the impacts that we currently experience. As we already said, Greater Cambridge is in the keen eye of government because we are seen as the key driver of, in quotes, UK PLC. Interesting to note that as of 2023, there were a total of 23 businesses that were born in the area that have reached the $1 billion status. I just discovered that myself. And, it's Europe's largest technology cluster to over 5,000 high-tech firms. So, and as we know, our technology parks keep growing and there's even more demand, as we speak. So they're big numbers for an area that is only with a population of just over 300,000 people as of the last census in June 2022. And of course, it's a small city, but South Cambs, together with the city, is what we know as the Greater Cambridge area. But we are punching very highly above our collective weight, so to speak. So, against that background, what have we achieved? As we know, our local plan timetable was updated last month, and it reflects the factors that have caused the slowdown. But we're now going full steam ahead to submit our local plan jointly with the city by December 2026. As I said before, local government organization permitting. We have 8 neighborhood plans made. We didn't make any new ones in that year, but there were some that went into consultation, including Triplo and Heathfield, Great Shelford and Stapleford, etc. But we currently have 18 areas that have been designated as neighborhood areas. In terms of housing delivery, which is a big thing for us, I'm pleased to report we had 1,582 completions in Greater Cambridge, and of that, 1,333 were in South Cambs, which is a big number. But most interestingly, I think, is that of that number, 523 were affordable dwellings, so about a third of, well, just over a third. And 503 of that were in South Cambs. So we are delivering affordable housing, which is great. And most of them, I think, were from West Camborne and Marley. And we continue to, I guess, deliver. The housing delivery test figure tends to look at it over a period of the last 3 years. And as of December 2024, we are actually, our performance is 153% of the figure we should be delivering every year. So far, so good. In terms of employment space, we had a gain of, I think it was 16,100 square meters, and of which I believe 3,540 were in South Cambs and the rest in Cambridge. However, we should note that we have over 500,000 square meters either allocated or permitted, okay, coming over the next few years. So there's a lot of employment space that is coming forward. With all of that, we did secure 4.8 million, I can't get my figures right, 4.8 million of developer contributions, 23-24, which is very good. I think we just started to sort of report that in the last couple of years. So it's always good to see that we do get developer contributions that go towards providing infrastructure. There's a lot in that report. It's over 330 pages, so much good information. And at this point, I just want to say thank you to Mark Deyers and Jenny Notticombe for the excellent work they've done, putting all this together. Mark is here, if you wanted to ask further questions, as is John Dixon, as is Stephen Kelly, the director, just making sure that I do things correctly, I think. But yeah, and on the basis of that, I just want to say, thank you very much. And I would also like to point out there's an amendment to the recommendation on page 57. But I just want to recommend to Cabinet to agree the Authority Monitoring Report as in Appendix A. And the main thing is paragraph B, to delegate any further minor editing changes to the Cambridge City Council and South Cambs District Council Authority Monitoring Report to the Joint Director of Planning and Economic Development in consultation with the lead cabinet member for planning policy and development management. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you very much indeed. And yes, it's a fabulous report. Mark or Stephen or Jonathan, do you want to add anything to what Tumi said? Okay, well, I'll add my thanks to you all, because again, I know this is a massive, massive team effort, but particularly to Mark for putting it all together. It's being... Did you want to say something, Stephen? Sorry, apologies.
Well, just to reflect the significant work that goes into it, and I suppose to commend it to members, there's a lot in there that helps you to understand what's happened, and will need to shape some of the things that we share with planning committees, but also as we bring forward in the local plan. But no, to pay tribute to the team as well, because it is an epic piece of work.
Thank you very much indeed. Yes, it's really, I do my best to encourage all our members to read it, because it is jam-packed full of moments where you go, oh my goodness, I didn't know that. That's really interesting. John, do you want to say anything or second it?
Yes, thank you very much. We're very happy to second this. I'd also echo the business about the amount of work that must go into this. 335 pages of it, a huge amount of information. So well done, everybody, with that. I'd just like to emphasise the issues with affordable housing, because there's, from a political point of view, there's a significant timeline here. If we look at the completions of affordable housing in the year 1718, there was 180 completions in South Cambs. There was a significant event in May 2018, you might recall, when the Liberal Democrats came to power, and lo and behold, affordable housing went up to 341. And this last year, 23-24, there's 503 houses. So this is the total number of affordables being delivered. And we deliver personally out of that 500 more than 100 houses. So something between 20 and 25% of all affordable housing in South Cambs is delivered by us. So I think that's something to be proud of. And we look forward to even more. And I'm sure I'll touch on that when we come to the HRA budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and well done to your team for all their efforts with that. Okay, so if there are no more questions or points to make, recommendations are set out on page 57 and 58. Do members agree with the proposal?
Agreed.
Anyone wishing to vote against? Anyone abstaining? So Cabinet therefore agrees the proposals. Okay, and now moving on to the financial section. We're starting off with the capital strategy, and Councillor John Williams is going to present this, and I'm very happy to second it. So, Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Leader. I'm very pleased to move this. Report is basically an update. Every year we have to update our capital strategy, and this takes on board the changes that have been made to the right to buy, where the discount has been reduced since November, and but otherwise it's basically just an updated version of our capital report.
Thank you very much. Yes, I've nothing to add to that other than thank you very much to Peter Maddock and Fazana for all their efforts in putting this together. Are there any questions from Cabinet members? Any points from anybody else? No? Okay, so moving swiftly on. Sorry? Yes, I'm just about to move on to approving it. Okay, haven't forgotten, I'm awake. Right, so recommendations are on page 393. Do members agree with proposals?
Agreed.
Anyone wishing to vote against? Anyone abstaining? So Cabinet therefore agrees the proposals. And next up we have the Treasury Management Strategy, and that's John Williams again, and it's being seconded, I think, by Councillor Hawkins. So, is it? No, it's Councillor Milne, sorry, I've written it down wrong. Sorry, my apologies. Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Leader. Once again, this is just a revision to our Treasury policy report, and just brings it up to date. I've got nothing further to add to that. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Mills.
Yeah, happy to second that, and to note that our policy on treasury management has always been very well grounded, and it's part of our financial rectitude, I think, is quite a nice expression. Thank you.
Rectitude. Okay, I'll remember that one. Very good. Thank you. Righty-ho, yes, I did. Sorry, I had my papers in the wrong order. Any remarks from anybody else? No? Okay, so moving on to the recommendations on page 417. Do members agree with the proposal?
Agree.
Anyone wishing to vote against? Anyone abstaining? So Cabinet therefore agrees the proposals. This is going well. Right. Jinx. Number 11, the General Fund Revenue and Capital Budget. Councillor John Williams again, and this time it is Councillor Hawkins to second it. Thank you very much. John Williams.
Thank you, Leader. No doubt this will be debated at full council. I notice we don't have any opposition members here, so not likely to receive any awkward questions on this this morning. One thing I do want to draw attention to is I want to thank the officers, the leadership team, for the fact that they've managed to produce a budget for the coming financial year, which means that we're not going to be asking basically the same. We're going to be asking basically the same amount of money from taxation and grants as we have this year. So around 38 million is our net operating costs, and I think given the fact that we are facing inflation, but more importantly we have seen an increase in national insurance employer contributions, which has been factored into this budget, I think they should be congratulated that they've been able to keep their costs to what they are for this year, going forward into next year. So I would like to congratulate our officers and the leadership team in particular for the amount of work they've put into this to ensure that our productivity has increased to take account of increased costs. Thank you.
Thank you. Point well made. Councillor Hawkins, do you want to come in now?
Yeah, just to say I'm happy to second this, and again, thank you to the team making this understandable for the community, so that we understand where money is going, how it's being spent, and all that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other Cabinet members? No. Councillor Bradnam.
Thank you very much, Leader. This was one of the other points from scrutiny and overview, in which members of the Scrutiny and Overview Committee looked forward to reading an explanation in the report to full council as to how South Cambridgeshire District Council is addressing the impact of having to make higher national insurance contributions across the authority. And Councillor Williams has just briefly touched on that it was accounted for in the budget. So I think it would be helpful if that was clarified in the report that goes to council. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, point made. So I mean, I think massive effort has gone into, maintaining our costs and sticking to the same budget at a time when I hear from other councils about out of control costs and savings targets being missed by millions and millions of pounds. And again, thank you very much to Peter Maddox and all his team. But actually, again, this is another example of an effort from every single one of our colleagues to identify where savings and efficiencies can be made that aren't compromising on our services and our, constant striving for improvement and increased productivity. So I think it's nothing short of a miracle, quite honestly. So yeah, it's a very, times are tough, but actually, because of the colleagues we have around us, we are in a position that many other councils absolutely envy. So thank you. If there aren't, so there's a lot of recommendations on page 457 and 458, which I won't read out. And as we've heard, this will go to full council. So I'll just get papers in the right order. So, yes, okay, so recommendations set out. Okay, thank you very much. Do members agree with proposals as set out on those 2 pages?
Agreed.
Anyone wish to vote against? Anyone abstaining? Cabinet therefore agrees the proposals. And a bit more money, the housing revenue account and capital budget, and Councillor John Williams will present this and Councillor John Batchelor will second it, and I'm sure we'll have some interesting things to say. Thank you, John Williams.
Thank you, Leader. Well, as you know, because we own our housing stock, we have a separate housing revenue account, which I don't think people appreciate is ring-fenced and cannot be subsidised from council tax, so it has to be self-contained. So basically the rents that we receive from our tenants has to go towards not only repairs but also to pay for new build for new council houses, to pay for our borrowing to be able to build new council houses. You'll see from that report we borrowed some 40 million for our housing rebuild programme, and I'm very delighted that, in fact, until we took control, this council had a net loss in council housing through right to buy. Every year we weren't building enough to keep pace with right to buy, but over the past 6 years we've actually reversed that, and we are now in a position where we are building more council houses than we are selling to the benefit of our residents. But I'd also point out that that also has to bear the national insurance increase. Now, we understand we've not been given details exactly how much we're getting from the government, but it's certainly true to say that we're not going to be completely covered by the increase in national insurance costs. I think the government's made that quite plain, that local government is going to be shouldering some of that increase in NI costs, and obviously that means that our tenants are going to have to shoulder that NI cost through increased costs of repair and maintenance of their properties. So, unfortunately, this increase in national insurance is not just affecting the private sector; it is also affecting the public sector and affecting our tenants and those who rely on our services in having to pay more because of the increase in national insurance. But as I say, once again, I think our officers done a fantastic job, and as a result, we are putting council rents up, but they are being put up by 2.7%, which is basically in line with inflation. So once again, I'm very, I congratulate our housing team for the fact that they've been able to contain their costs while still continuing with our new build programme and our programme of refurbishing our existing council houses.
Thank you. Councillor Batchelor.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to echo Councillor Williams' comments there and to congratulate the management and their teams for a brilliant job. I'd just like to emphasise what a really significant business our housing department is. We've got, at the end of this financial year, we have 5,815 houses in our stock. We have an investment strategy for capital spend of £73 million. And we have an HRA spend of 29 million. So we're talking about a business of more than £100 million turnover. Not an insignificant management issue there. So well done to all of them, and hope they can keep up the pace. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or points? No? Okay. So thank you very much to Peter Maddox, to Martin Lee and Fazana Ahmed, who are the report authors. Again, very accessible report, but full of interesting detail. So, moving on to the recommendations, which are on page 567, 568. Thank you very much indeed. And, right, and are very long, so I won't read them out. So, are there, do members agree with proposals and the recommendations?
Agreed.
Anyone wish to vote against? Anyone wish to abstain? So Cabinet therefore agrees the proposals. Thank you. And the last item we have is the localised council tax support scheme, and this goes to full council as well, doesn't it, I think? So, right, so John Williams, and I'm very happy to second this.
Thank you, Leader. I'm very delighted to say that the local council tax support scheme, which we introduced getting on for about 4 or 5 years ago now, this particular type of scheme, it's very different from what other councils do. We have a banding scheme here, which makes it a lot simpler for users to understand where they are within it, but also makes it easier for us to apply. And I'm very delighted that we've actually seen an increase in the uptake of the scheme. And I'm trying to see where, we currently have 7,295 residents receiving support for the local council tax scheme. I thank again the officers, particularly those in benefit Revs and Bens, for the work they put in to ensure that residents who are entitled to receive money from this do receive money. And as I say, we found that this particular scheme has been very easy to introduce and implement, and I would recommend that we continue with it.
Thank you very much indeed, and I'm very happy to second this. I think it compares very well to many councils around us in its simplicity and its generosity as well. And I'm delighted that so many people are able to take full advantage of this in an area that's an expensive area to live in. So thank you. And thank you very much to Dawn Graham, who's the author of this report, and again to Peter, who oversees this. Okay, fine. I thought we normally did take this to full council.
The recommendation isn't clear.
Yeah, for council.
So could we add in recommends to full council?
Oh, right, okay, so yeah, so Cabinet recommends to full council, it should say in the recommendations on page 607. Yeah, I know we always do discuss it each year. Okay, thank you very much for pointing that out, Liz, much appreciated. So, if there's no other points, do members agree with the proposals set out on page 607?
Agree.
Anyone wish to vote against? Anyone abstaining? No, so Cabinet therefore agrees the proposals, and that brings this meeting to an end. The next meeting of Cabinet will be on the 25th of February. My goodness me, that's soon. Thank you very much, everybody, for all your time.